So, we are in the workbook, lesson 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. All right. And this is our Thanksgiving lesson. So I dedicate this to our celebration of Thanksgiving this coming Thursday. So, and the reason I chose this for the Thanksgiving lesson is because it reminds us of what it is that we're really supposed to be grateful for. So if you were having this question go through your mind like, what's there to be grateful for? The Course in Miracles says this is what you should be grateful for. And the author of the Course, shows us what our version of gratitude has been. And so he's going to tell us about what our version of gratitude has been. And then the Course is going to remind us of what it is that we really have to be grateful for, okay? So it's a really beautiful lesson. And so it says, does everybody see where it's at? Mm-hmm. And anybody need a book? All right. So it says, love is the way I walk in gratitude. So what is love? Love is a way I walk in gratitude. That's interesting, love is a way. How interesting. I thought love was a verb. Love is a way I walk in gratitude. And then it says, gratitude is a lesson hard to learn for those who look upon the world amiss. Now, those who look upon the world amiss, those who aren't seeing the world correctly, what do they do? Excuse me. The most that they can do is to see themselves as better off than others. Those who look upon the world amiss, the best they can do, if you're not seeing the world correctly, the best you can do is go, I see myself better off than others. Wow. And these folks that are not seeing, they're not looking at the world correctly, which means through loving eyes, these folks try to be content because another seems to suffer more than they. Okay. Let's see if we fall into the category of people who are seeing the world amiss, shall we? All of a sudden, I have this stuff in my throat. I wonder why. I'm sorry, I have an ego in my throat. That happens sometimes when I'm trying to speak truth that my ego doesn't want me to say. So you know. Okay, so how do you know when you are not seeing the world correctly? You're seeing the world correctly because you try to content yourself. You try to feel better about your life by seeing how other people, being content with how other people suffer more than you. Wow. How interesting. Trying to content myself with the idea, trying to make myself feel better because somebody else has less than me. Okay, that means I'm seeing the world amiss, meaning I'm not seeing it as it is. Anybody else notice that about themselves? Okay.
I wouldn't admit it.
Right, right. You know, you ask people, how's it going? Could be worse. Okay. You must be looking upon the world amiss. How's it going? Well, you know, I'm having a rough day, but you know what? There's people starving in Ethiopia. Oh, all right. Does that help you feel better? No. Then it says, and he says, how pitiful and deprecating are such thoughts? I'm going to content myself because somebody else is suffering more. Because who has cause for thanks while others have less cause for thanks? And who could suffer less just because you see someone else suffering more? Your gratitude is due God alone, who made all cause of suffering disappear throughout the world. Okay? So in this paragraph, first he shows us what our version of gratitude is, what we've been choosing to be grateful for. And that is, I'm grateful I'm not them. I'm grateful I'm not suffering like they are, right? That's the kind of gratitude that we've been contenting ourselves with. That's the gratitude we're using to make ourselves feel better. We are using the suffering of other people to feel better. And then calling it, I'm so grateful. Calling that gratitude. Wow. He says, that's deprecating. That's not nice to other people. That's deprecating. Well, at least I'm not them. Wow. Interesting. And he says, how could it be that you have less cause to suffer? I mean, how could it be that you have less cause to suffer just because someone else is suffering more? How interesting. That's our version of gratitude. Wow. No wonder our world is the way it is. And he's saying, here's what your gratitude is due to. This and this alone. Your gratitude should have nothing to do with some people are suffering more than you. Your gratitude should be to God and only God. Why? Because God made all cause of suffering disappear throughout the world. Wow. So our gratitude should not be because somebody else has less than us this Thanksgiving. Our gratitude should be to God who made the cause of sorrow disappear, and not just here, but all over the world. So notice, not only did God didn't just like help people with their symptoms, their suffering symptoms. God makes the cause of suffering disappear throughout the world, for everybody, equally, everywhere. So this Thanksgiving, instead of going, we're so grateful we have a turkey and most of the rest of the world doesn't, we're going to say, thank you, God, for giving the entire world the answer to the cause of suffering. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for taking care of everybody. Thank you, God, for undoing the cause of suffering everywhere. That's what we're giving thanks for this Thanksgiving. How nice. All right, what else? That was just one paragraph. Now it says, it's insane to offer thanks because of suffering. I'm so grateful that I'm not suffering like them. That's me giving thanks for suffering. Isn't that crazy? But it's equally insane to fail in gratitude to one who offers you the certain means whereby all pain is healed and suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. And nor could the even partly sane refuse to take the steps which God directs and follow in the way God sets before them to escape a prison that they thought contained no door to the deliverance they now perceive. Wow, okay. So, it's insane to offer thanks because someone else is suffering more than you. Okay, we get that that's insane, right? Yeah. But he says, but it's equally insane to fail in gratitude to the one who gave you the no-fail means whereby all pain is healed, all suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. Okay, so he's telling me that I'm insane when I'm giving gratitude that someone suffers more than me. I get that. But then he's saying I'm also equally as insane to not be grateful to God, who has given everybody the no-fail remedy to end all pain and all suffering. Interesting. So if I am not walking around in total gratitude to God for having given the means the no-fail means to undo all my pain and suffering, that means I'm insane. If I'm not walking around all the time in gratitude, whenever I'm not in gratitude to God who gave me the no-fail way, the no-fail means to end all my suffering right now, and He gave it to everybody else right now, that means I'm insane. That's an interesting definition of insanity. Not being grateful. Insanity is this: failing in gratitude to the one who gave you the no-fail remedy to everything you're going through and everything everybody in the world is going through. Wow, that's an interesting definition of insanity. I must be insane. Here I am, been given everything. Been given everything. There's not one problem I have that I haven't received the answer to, that isn't sitting there waiting for me. And I'm walking around all sad, all angry, all depressed. That's insane. You mean I've offered you everything, the answer to every problem, pain, suffering that you have and everyone else has, and you're still walking around depressed? Oh, that's right. That's because you're insane. That's why. Right? That's what we would say about somebody who's walking through heaven all depressed. That's us. So not only is my insanity shown by the fact that I'm going, oh, thank you, God, I'm not them. But I'm also insane because I'm not walking around going, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, for giving me a no-fail remedy for safety and supply while I'm here. Wow. And I'll know that I'm not insane anymore because I will only be experiencing gratitude every day. Gratitude, gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yes, Chris?
So then when I notice that I'm not in gratitude and I notice that I am insane, is that then where I need to say I am mistaken and I ask for correction about it?
Yes, absolutely. And then he gives a lot of great answers in this section for what to do as an answer to your ingratitude. I love it. In another section, he says, lack is a lesson in ingratitude. Like, oh, I'm experiencing lack. That has to be due to ingratitude. Wow, interesting. Now, he goes on to say, so if you're not in gratitude to somebody, if you're not in gratitude, then what's the opposite of being in gratitude to somebody? Well, he says, next paragraph, your brother is your, quote, enemy, because you see in others the rival for your peace. Other people are your so-called enemies because you see in them a plunderer who takes their joy from you and leaves you nothing but a black despair so bitter and relentless that there's no hope remaining. And now that your enemy has plundered your happiness from you, now is vengeance all there is to wish for now. All I have now left is a desire that they get what's coming to them. Okay? And then he says, nor now can you only try to bring them down to lie in death with you, as useless as yourself, meaning as little left within their grasping fingers as in yours. Wow. So why isn't that I'm not grateful to everybody that I encounter? Why is it that I'm not grateful to the people in my life? Why is that? Why is it that I'm full of grievances? I'm kind of upset with them. Why is it that I'm not overflowing with gratitude with the people in my life? Well, it's because I see them as my enemy, which means what? I see them in them a rival for my peace. I see them as having the ability to take my happiness from me. I see them as a plunderer of my peace. And that I see somebody who's trying to take my peace and my happiness from me, leaving me nothing but bitter despair. And now that I see other people as my rival for peace and happiness, now the best I think I can do is to bring them down with me. To bring them down with me so that they are also as miserable and deprived as I see myself. And he says, that is, the only reason you wouldn't be grateful to everybody around you is because you see them as your rival, the rival for your peace. Does that make sense? And it also answers exactly what is at the core of our grievances with other people. That's the core. I see the people around me as a rival for my peace, a plunderer of my joy. I really do see that other people are out to take happiness from me. That's why I'm irritated with them. That's why I have a grievance with them. That's why I'm in competition with them. And if I didn't see them as the rival for my peace and the plunderer of my joy, then the only thing left would be gratitude. That's the only thing that would be left. Okay? So did you want to say something?
It seems to suggest then that all forms of lack are really just a lack of peace.
That's right, absolutely.
That's the one thing that can be lacking.
Exactly, lack of peace. And a lack of correct perception. All right, let's go on. He says, so he's going to talk more about gratitude. So we're on lesson 195, and this is our Thanksgiving section. Okay, so we're on that paragraph that starts, thank you. The paragraph starts, you don't offer God your gratitude. You don't offer God your gratitude because your brother is more slave than you. Nor could you sanely be enraged if they seem freer. Love doesn't make any comparisons, and gratitude can only be sincere if gratitude be joined to love. And so, here's what we're really offering gratitude for. We're offering gratitude to God. We're offering thanks to God, our Father, that in us all things will find their freedom. In other words, it'll never be that some people are loosed or set free while others are still bound. Because who can bargain in the name of love? Wow, okay. So saying like this, love, which is the same as gratitude, he says in here, it makes no comparisons. Love and gratitude doesn't make comparisons. So gratitude, real gratitude doesn't go, well, at least I'm not there. At least I'm not them. Well, I'm grateful because compared to them, I'm free. Right? But here's what else we do. We also, not only do we give gratitude that we're more free than they are, we also get pissed off if they're freer. Have you ever noticed that? I don't want to talk to those happy people. I don't want to talk to somebody who's like free. They love what they do. They don't have any money issues. They got a great relationship. Ew. Who wants to talk to them? Have you ever been enraged or upset that somebody seemed freer than you? Anybody? Okay, I have.
Just you.
All right, this class is just for me, so this class is just for me. So, Don't forget who this is for. All right, so he says, but the truth is that love doesn't ever make any comparisons, and gratitude never makes comparisons. So if you have real gratitude, it ain't making any comparisons. If it's real gratitude, it's not making a comparison. So check it out. Check out what are you saying thanks for this Thanksgiving? Are you giving thanks because you seem to have more than someone else? Or are you giving thanks because God has given everything to everybody? And are you giving thanks that everything will find its freedom in you? Wow. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. He says, this is what we're going to give thanks to God for this Thanksgiving. We're going to thank God that in us all things will find their freedom. Wow. In other words, I'm so grateful to God that as I remember the truth for myself, that all the world is freed with me. I'm so grateful that I can remember for all the world that we've been given everything and that we have everything right now. I'm so grateful that God has given everything to everyone without comparison, and that I can help us all to remember that by remembering that myself. Thank you, God. That's a little bit different than the regular Thanksgiving prayer that I can recall. Anyone? Yeah. A new Thanksgiving tradition. Right? A new Thanksgiving tradition. Thanking God that God has given everything to everybody, and that as we remember that for ourselves, all the world finds its freedom within us. Nice. All right. Yes, Chris.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because yesterday I found myself in a deep moment of gratitude, and it was like I literally wanted to shout out at the rooftops to everyone, and I wanted everyone to experience what I was experiencing at that moment.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah, absolutely. And then I love that last sentence. He goes, it will never be that some people are freed while others still are bound, because who can bargain in the name of love? When you say, when somebody else has less or is suffering, and you say, well, you know, I'm so grateful that we have electricity, and I'm so grateful we have food when there's lots of people who don't. In a way, it's like saying that somehow God forgot about them and God favors you. Have you ever noticed that? It's like when you when something, like say a big storm happens, and you're saved, and then you thank God for saving you. What are you really saying about the people who didn't make it? In essence, you're basically saying, sure am glad God picked me. Right? Mm-hmm. That's right. We're giving gratitude for someone else's suffering. When we say, well, thank God we made it through the storm. Right? As if God is the one who said, I pick you. As if love makes comparisons. The Course says, love doesn't make comparisons, just like gratitude doesn't make comparisons.
But that would be contingent upon what's in your heart when you say thank you, wouldn't it? Like, thank you for saving us from the storm.
Right.
Not, thank you for saving us from the storm, as opposed to them, but thank you.
Right.
It's what's in your heart when you say, is your gratitude sincere and not selfish?
Right. Exactly. What are you giving thanks for? Are you giving thanks that God saved you from the storm? Or are you giving thanks that God's love is available to everybody for the asking right now? Right. And that you are so grateful you can also ask for help and assistance for them too. Okay, so that's different. So one is like, I thank you, God, for thank you, God, for being available for everybody who suffered in this storm. Thank you, God, for being available to everybody upon their asking. Thank you for, the unlimited love and supply that you're giving to everybody right now. And we're going to remember for them right now that all they need to do is ask and they receive. And so it's a little different, but I have noticed that there's that thing, where we will thank God for saving us while other people didn't make it. And he's saying that's love making comparisons. That's love that's saying thank you for saving me. Well, if God is the one who saved you from the storm, then what about the people who didn't make it? What is that saying? Well, so we don't want to do that. We don't want to give gratitude because someone else didn't make it. We want to give thanks that we've been given the answer to all suffering and all lack, and we've been given an answer that when we accept it for ourselves, everybody wins and everybody gains. That's what we want to be thanking God for. Not that He saved us, woo, but that God has given us the means to remember for everybody.
I think where I really noticed that was the tsunami a few years back, where all the people were killed.
Right.
And it was so easy for people to say, oh God, thank God it wasn't over there.
That's right, absolutely. And absolutely. And say, well, let's give thanks this Christmas that we have our lives and that, we don't live in a tsunami floodplain. He says, that's not very loving to give thanks that God picked you to survive and screwed them over, right? He says, that's not real gratitude. That's not what you want to be thanking God for, because God didn't pick you over them, right? That's not what happened. You made it through the storm and you survived, not because God was picking and choosing. You made it through the storm because you had some more lessons to learn here on earth. And they were done, right? So it's not like God isn't making comparisons. You're worthy of being saved. You're worthy of having food this Thanksgiving. You're not. Thank you, God, for seeing me as worthy of having food. That's love making comparisons. That's God picking and choosing. But don't give thanks for that, because that ain't what God's doing.
Is the Course saying that real gratitude is independent of the body or the consequences associated with it?
Yes. Gratitude is due only to the Creator, who made sure that there is no death, and that there is no lack, and that there is no separateness, there is no separation. Thank you, God, that you gave everybody a life that cannot end. Thank you. Thank you for giving everybody the truth that will set them free the second that they want it. Thank you, God. Right? So gratitude is not in thanks for things, because it's not God who's directing the things happening here. That's us. God's not like, well, let's see, I would like these results for the election. I would like this person to win the Super Bowl. And I would like these people to be wiped out in a tsunami, and I would like these people to survive. That always cracks me up when the Super Bowl winners go, I'd like to thank God for this. Thank God. As if God is picking Super Bowl winners. Right? As if God is somehow picking the Emmy Award. I'd like to thank God for this. Doesn't God have anything better to do? So it's interesting. He's asking us to look at the things that we now give gratitude for And to see that that's not love. That's not love doing that. That's something else. And he's reminding us what it is that we want to offer gratitude for, and reminding us that we have every reason in every moment to be offering gratitude for that. And as a matter of fact, if you aren't every moment like, thank you, God, for the truth that sets us all free. Thank you, God, for the truth that even one person remembering it frees everybody. Thank you. When we are not in that kind of gratitude, he says we're insane. Wow. He doesn't just say you're just, oblivious. He goes, no, if you are not offering gratitude for that, you're insane. Meaning you don't see what's going on. If you're looking around and you see lack, and you see a cause for anger, and you see separateness, and you see justifications for your attack and justifications for your anger, you are not seeing what's in front of you. You are insane. Wow, if I see a justification for my anger, I'm insane? Wow, that was the time I thought I was the most right. Unless you're walking around going, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God, again. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the truth that sets me free and everyone with me. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the truth here. Woo. If you are not walking around like that, just know that means you're insane. Anybody like to admit with me that they are completely insane? Hey, I walked in here thinking my anger was justified.
So, Anna, I wanted to ask you, because I'm confused about what you said, that God doesn't, directly affect things on this planet, because I still pray that way, well, God, please help me with such and such, and please do this for me, God. And then it doesn't get answered, and I'm like, well, maybe I didn't pray it the right way, or I didn't pray hard enough.
Right.
And so I'm really confused about that.
We'll answer that.
Thank you, Julie. Julie, would you field that for me?
I bet last year, when I think most of you know my son was killed in an airplane crash, I decided to make a list of what I was grateful for. And I started out like you, Chris. I said, no, I'm not going to say what do I want. It's what am I grateful for. And I said the first thing I put down, and I made a list, and I go over it or I run. I think about it. I put down, I thank you, God, for the 26 years and 4 months you gave me with my wonderful son. Thank you. And then I said, I did a little on my family. I said, thank you for exposing me to the Course in Miracles 20 years ago. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to handle that death without the Course. And I made a list going, not what I wanted, but what I was grateful for. And I keep it with me. When I go away on my trips, I have it. I made it. Then I try to use it every morning when I run. I say a few of them. But it really is helpful, because we always are asking God, what can I, give me this, what can I get better? And instead of thanking.
Right.
So I'm just using that. I'm grateful for what I've been given.
Yes. Yes.
So I looked at it like that, and it seems to be helpful when I'm saying.
Right.
But that was,
Yeah, that's a great.
That's
a hard one.
It was.
Absolutely.
It was like, okay.
Yeah, that's a serious pop quiz.
And my dog. I mean, the things I really that around me that make me happy. They don't have to be things. They're more family, and then having those years, the time with my son.
That's right.
It was. I said thank you.
Beautiful.
And let it go. And you just keep that instead of. I read a book, Out of the Canyon, and it said the guy in it said, everyone always is asking God for something instead of being grateful. And that's where I sort of picked up on that. I said, this is a great way. He says, we don't tell him what we're grateful for.
Right. Exactly.
I like that.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you, dear. Yes,
Okay.
I have a question about that because, I try to always walk in gratitude. I call it an attitude of gratitude. And I know that I'm not infallible, but what about the things that you do want? As a human, when you're battling in this physical body that we have, how do you
Uh-huh.
I don't know your name.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Yeah.
You know, and to anybody, how do you handle that? You know, without sounding ungrateful, without being ungrateful, but saying, okay, this is, your freedom is on the line. How do you go, okay, how do you handle
Yeah.
that when you
Well-
want to say, God, can you keep me free?
Absolutely.
You know, whatever it is that you're facing,
Absolutely.
you know.
When I am going through something that's painful and difficult and frightening, I get on my knees in gratitude to God for giving me the truth.
Yes.
Because this is the means by which I received the truth that sets me free from all suffering. And it has set me free from all suffering. And I've suffered in all the ways you could suffer here. Death and sickness and loss and depression and despair. And so what we're giving thanks for is not necessarily that we got the medicine we needed, although say thanks. But we're thanking God that God has given us the answer that ends the cause of suffering. We've been given the answer to the cause of suffering. Wow! I mean, we're talking about the root cause of every single symptom that we have come up with. Now, if that isn't a reason for gratitude, I don't know what is. So that's the thing that we want to be giving thanks for, is that we've been given the truth. We've been given the plan by which we can allow our guilt and fear to be undone for us, which ends all the symptoms. Everything physical is just a symptom of the deeper cause of suffering. And so what I really want to give thanks for is not the change of symptoms. I want to give thanks that when I'm ready, I already have the undoing of the cause of my physical symptoms. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay.
What about that part in that book called the Bible?
Oh, I heard about that.
And
Yeah.
it says in there, seek first the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything will be added unto you.
Same thing. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the deal?
Yep, that's the deal.
You shall know the truth.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
deal.
how you read.
Okay, so now we're going to read on. It says, therefore, instead of giving thanks that other people are suffering more than you, give thanks. Do give thanks, but in sincerity. Oh, what does that mean to give sincere gratitude? It's this. Let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you. You know, the sick, the weak, the needy and afraid, and those who mourn a seeming loss, and those who feel apparent pain, and those who suffer cold or hunger, and those who walk the way of hatred and the path of death. To give gratitude in sincerity means you do what? You give a gratitude that makes room for all those who are suffering and who will, let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you. And who's the all who's going to escape with me? The sick, the needy, afraid, those who mourn a seeming loss or feel apparent pain, who suffer cold or hunger. So that's what you were saying. So for me to give sincere gratitude this Thanksgiving, then I need to let my gratitude make room. In other words, I need to be grateful for them too. Not be grateful in spite of them, grateful in spite of their loss, but include them in my gratitude. Let my gratitude make room for them who are going to be free with me. I'm so grateful that the love of God and the truth that I've received from God is is available to everybody. Everybody who's sick, everybody who's needy, everybody who's mourning, everybody who's hungry, everybody who's cold. I'm so grateful for the truth that has set everybody free. And I'm going to remember them. I'm going to remember them. I'm going to remember that God has given us everything for them. That's sincere gratitude.
Well, if God makes no comparisons, that means we're doing it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it suggests to me then that it is by these comparisons that's related to the cause of suffering.
Yes, comparisons is related to the cause of suffering, and it even goes on to say that. I love how you always
If you don't
anticipate.
compare, you can't see someone
That's exactly
suffering
right.
more or less than someone else.
That's
and
right.
It's all in your own perception of things.
So what we've been calling gratitude has really just been comparisons. See, I have more than them. Hey, they have more than me. The nerve of them to be freer than me. They must be doing something wrong. I'm going to look for their guilt. Right? So he says, all these folks, the sick, the needy, the weak, the afraid, those who mourn a seeming loss, those who feel apparent pain, those who suffer cold or hunger, and those who walk the way of hatred, and those that walk the path of death. All those folks, they go with you. They go with you. In other words, only as they are free are you. They're part of our freedom. They're part. The Course says, you think you're going to be free while a single slave walks the earth? It doesn't work like that. Because I hate to break it to you, but we're all one. I know it doesn't seem like that. But he's saying all of them that we just mentioned, they all go with you. What does that mean, they all go with me? It means you either all go to abundance and joy and everlasting life together, or not at all. Darn it! I hate that part of the truth. I really want to get free by myself. I would like a freedom just for me, please. That's why I'm going to give gratitude that they are more imprisoned than me. Wow. He says, so this is the way you give sincere gratitude. You give thanks for all of them. The sick, the needy, the afraid, the mourners, and those who are cold and hungry. You give thanks for all of them too, because they go with you. They go with you. As they go, so you go. So it would behoove us to use our gratitude to remember that they have everything also, and that they are loved, beloved as much as we are, because love doesn't make comparisons. Love doesn't look on some people and go, oh, they're not as well off as them. Oh, they're better off than they are. Love doesn't do that. Love doesn't look on some people and go, well, you're better off than they are. Love doesn't look at the people who are sick and needy and cold and hungry and afraid and go, too bad you're not as well off as they are. Love looks at all of us and goes, oh my. Love looks at all of us and sees us the same. Insane. Thinking that we're totally deprived, thinking we're alone, thinking that we don't have enough. Love sees us all the same. Love isn't like, they're better off than they are, they don't have anything, right? Love makes no comparisons. Love looks on all of us and goes, oh my, oh my children sleep and need to be awakened. All of them, all the same. They're all asleep. They're all asleep and dreaming that they're deprived and suffering and lonely and cold and hungry and sick and mourning. They all think that. That's what love sees. Love doesn't go, oh, well, they have more than others. So that's what this is asking us to do, that we would also look upon everybody as the same, meaning don't make any comparisons. Don't see yourself as better off, because you're not. And don't see yourself as worse off, because you're not. See yourself like love does, the same, and having everything within you right now for the taking, for the receiving. That is how love sees us. That's how we're supposed to see us too. And when we see somebody who's sick and hungry and lonely and cold and deprived and in pain, what we're supposed to do is to give thanks for them. We're supposed to give thanks for them, not go, oh. Right. That would be a little different approach. Now we see the sick, the hungry, the needy, and afraid, and we're like, do-do-do-do-do, grab my purse closer. So glad I'm not them. Thank you, God, I'm not them. Thank you, God, I'm not them. He said, now he's saying, give thanks for them. Give gratitude for them. In other words, let your gratitude make room for everybody who's going to escape with you. Wow. He says, don't compare yourselves with them. Don't compare yourselves with them. Because when you compare yourself with them, you split yourself off from your awareness of the unity you share with them, as they must share with us. How? Thank you, God, for the answer to how to see my needy brothers who seem to have less than me, who seem to be worse off than me. You know, the ones I've been trying to ignore, right? The ones I've been trying to ignore, and thank God I'm not them. He just told us how to respond to them in such a way that we experience real freedom. If I compare myself with them, and thank God I'm not them, and then try to ignore them, except on Christmas or Thanksgiving, guess what? I don't get to be free. I don't get to be free. If I compare myself with them, thank God I'm not them, and then try to ignore them, the sick, the needy, the cold, the hungry, the afraid, then I don't get free myself. Wow.
He's tying in here the idea that it is through separation that it's through comparison you keep the idea of separation alive.
It's exactly right. It's through making comparisons that you keep the truth of the universal cosmic abundance from your sight, right? Okay. I'm surrounded by everlasting cosmic abundance. The universe is nothing but the substance of yes. 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 Right? Okay. And I will never know that. I will never know that. And I will walk around going, I don't have enough, and I don't have enough, and I need some more, and someone took it from me, and I don't have it because they got it, and oh, I'm so glad I have more than they do. I'll just walk around in this constant misery of lack and deprivation, even though I'm surrounded by cosmic and everlasting abundance, if I compare myself with those who seem to have less or those who seem to have more. Wow. And so my own experience of the everlasting cosmic abundance that is everything surrounds me, waiting for me, my awareness of that comes as I remember that cosmic abundance and that cosmic love is truly available to everybody equally and alike, no matter what, everywhere, all the time. Until I remember that it's available all the time, no matter what, for everybody, then I will deprive myself of it And I will continue walking around lamenting how deprived I am and pointing out who took it from me. Woo! And that's why this Thanksgiving, we just want to give thanks that God has given us all everything, and God has made no comparisons between us whatsoever, and He's offered everything to all, and it's available for all, and thank you, God. And I am going to remember that for the world today, because in my remembering that, guess what happens? Others